I'm aware this looks a little concerning. I like whales to a normal and healthy extent. I just happen to have accumulated a lot of whale items over the years, many of which are off camera because I'm already pushing it into whale weirdo territory. Whales. Some are big, others are also big. I love whales. We all love whales, and I think a big part of that is their mystique and how absolutely terrifying they are. I am going to go over what makes them so terrifying, but I also want to dive into their cultural significance and why we're so drawn to them. So let's dive in. I've just said that. So we all know whales are smart, but do you know how smart they are? No, you definitely do not, because every article I read was like, oh, this is new information and changes everything we know about whales. These things are smarter than we thought. It is concerning. Whales communicate with each other. That's cute. They click and whistle, but we're learning the CNW language, click and whistle that is a lot more complex than we originally thought. Let's start with orcas, probably the most incredible creature to ever exist. I look like a weirdo. I'm considering changing my shirt. This isn't any better. Okay, whatever. It's fine. I'll keep this shirt. Let's start with orcas. Probably the most incredible creature, whatever, blah, blah, blah. These things are horrifying. These are so scary. They probably are my favorite animal, if you couldn't tell, but oh my God. Everything I read about them scares me more. So you know how people from New York are like, hey, I'm from New York. And then a girl from Texas State University is like, hi, y'all, I'm Jezebel. Apparently, orcas do that too, but like in a whale way. They have regional dialects and language variations among their pods, that is fam or squads, if you will. So you're telling me not only do they talk, but they talk enough to be like, hey, we're gonna make a new word for wave. I don't know what they talk about. I assume that's in their daily vocabulary. Is that whalist of me? Who cares? I'm on land, they're in the water, they can't do anything. Moving on to the whales with a very unfortunate name, sperm whales. Recent studies of these things have shown that their communication is complex enough so that they change how they talk depending on conversational context, like a human does with speech or Morse code. We used Morse code to communicate war plans. What are they planning? Actually, we know what they're planning. One day in 2020, orcas started attacking boats. They have never done this before, and we don't know why they decided to start doing it now. Some scientists think it's because they associate boats with bad experiences, which is always good when an animal can remember its trauma, but others think that they're just playing. You know what would happen if I rocked someone's car while they're in it just because I'm playing? I would get shot. I would not be roaming around scot-free, shaking cars as I please. I would be on the ground, well on my way to see Harambe. Orcas also bully. I think what makes these animals so scary is that they are just like us humans. Orcas have just been dogging on dolphins lately, and can you guess the reason why? Yup, we do not know why. I think it's to get back at them for that one thing that dolphins do that no other animal does other than humans. That's probably why they've been rocking our boats too, actually. They just found out about all of this. It's like when you're in third grade learning about slavery for the first time and you're like, God, what? Why would anyone do this? I would beat the crap out of a slave owner if I got to see one. Also, it's probably really fun to fling 400 pounds of flesh 100 feet into the air. Whales are incredibly smart. That deserved its own section, but I also want to talk about their weird, overpowered abilities. Someone nerfed these things. Let's just get this one out of the way. Some whales sleep vertically, and I truly believe it's to look as scary as possible so no one tries to pull a fast one on them while they're asleep. Actually, they don't need to worry about someone creeping on them whilst they find repose, because while they sleep, half their brain stays awake. That's just how some of our brains operate while we're actually awake, and sometimes I wish it was a useful part of my brain and not the part that's really good at parkour. This has never helped me get a job. The real reason their brains don't completely sleep is so that they can control their breathing. That's right, just like us, whales need to breathe air, but unlike us, they don't give a shit. They chose to live in the water. There's no air there. So they just adapted to hold their breaths for a really long time. You can call this evolution, I see it as an indirect threat. They're not even playing on home court, and they will still fuck up anything in the eternal abyss that we call the ocean. Orcas basically rule 71% of this earth. Forget private equity firms. Killer whales are the real puppet masters of our lives here. Can you believe it gets worse though? Whales are learning to use tools. Dolphins grab sponges and use them as armor while foraging for food. That's cute and simple. Humpback whales do something called bubble net fishing. There are diagrams on what this is. That's a red flag. They can modify the size, shape, and density of their net. That's another red flag. Whales are doing something complex enough where us humans are like, shit, this needs a negative exponent to explain. What? Think about that for a second. We need advanced math to explain what they're doing. This is so much worse than monkeys cracking nuts with a rock. I was concerned about that at one point. I thought they were going to catch up to us. Whales are getting efficient and lazy. That was the first step in human society. They're going to start hiring other whales to do their work while they get fat and lazy. They're going to advance enough to make an iPhone. They're going to advance enough to make a bomb. They're going to make a bomb and they're going to test it on land like how we tested our bombs on water. 3 of the top 10 biggest animal brains on this planet belong to whales. Now, you might be reasonable and be like, oh, well, you know, brain size doesn't equal intelligence, and you're right. Let's bring up a list of the top 10 smartest animals to prove that we have nothing to actually worry about. Oh, that's cool. Dolphins are in second place. Not only will they assault you, but they will kick your ass in algebra as well. The reason why whales are so smart is because their brains evolved similarly to humans. Don't describe it like that. They are on track to create the whale version of the Chainsmokers. That is the most horrifying thing of all. And to tie it all together, whales started on land and decided, nah, let's go in there. Was it for the food, or was it to take over as much of the earth as possible? Did they have a globe before we did? Did they see that land is only 30% of this earth and decided, yeah, that's not going to be enough for us? Whales exhibit a lot of complex behaviors and capabilities that remind us of us. Except they're ginormous. I cannot stress this enough. Even orcas. I didn't know orcas were that big until I saw a full-size outline of one on a sidewalk at a beach. The dorsal fin was as tall as me. And no, I am not a fellow short king, but shout out to my short kings out there. I see you guys. I respect what you guys do. What? I'm reining in at a cool 5'10", perfect for NBA All-Star material, and the fin, just this fin, the top fin, was taller than me. Just that part. The biggest animal of all time, bigger than any dinosaur, anything that's ever existed, is the blue whale. We are so lucky to be alive while that thing is lurking in our ocean. Forget T-Rexes or Titans, bro. Imagine a goddamn whale outside your window. I think I might have megalophobia. Guys, I have no jokes for this video. The sheer absurdity of all these things is so funny and so scary. So many things I read were from just like the past year, and all of them were like, we don't know why whales are doing this shit. We don't know what they're planning. The whale intelligence almost reaches the uncanny valley. They talk, they have dialects, they bully, they do that one really bad thing, they get high, and they f with animals. We do all those things. Not like we as a collective, not, no. And maybe that's why we love them, because they're kind of like weird shaped humans. I mean, they have hands. Their fins are hands, by the way. Whales are beautiful and smart. That's why we're so drawn to them. Let's start with SeaWorld. Horrible, I know, but there is a reason they got away with it for so long. We want to see these incredible beasts up close. It's so messed up. I want to see an orca so bad, but it's just not worth it. I went to SeaWorld twice as a kid. Guys, I didn't know what was going on. I just really liked orcas. Do not cancel 7-year-old me. He was so unaware of what was happening to these things. And don't blame my parents either. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. But that shit clearly made an impression on me. This cup is probably 20 years old at this point. We as a species banded together and decided, you can't do this. This is cruel. We'll still kill the other word and torture these things, but this one is special. SeaWorld no longer breeds orcas or does their big grand abuse show anymore, which frankly was their biggest moneymaker, so stopping that is huge. I don't know how well they're doing this now, so don't get mad at me, but they've refocused their efforts to make the remaining orcas' lives less horrible. You can still see them at the parks, but it's in more of like an educational, laid-back way rather than look at what this big-ass thing can do. Also, let's not forget Free Willy. I still think of that guy every time I'm at a jetty. On a more serious note, across many cultures, we recognize whales for their beauty. They signify wisdom and harmony. We see them as mysterious yet magnificent creatures with hauntingly beautiful songs. We risk our lives to catch a glimpse of these unbelievable animals, and we keep discovering how truly smart they are. It seems like it's never ending. I know I just spent like 10 minutes panicking about whales, but I still think they are so awesome. If I'm being honest, I can't look at them the same way anymore though. Follow my Instagram, check out the Chon store for Chon items that I've created. Channel that subscribe button for weekly videos. I think by the time this comes out, I should have 50,000 subscribers. Unless something really horrible happens. It feels weird like celebrating something that hasn't happened yet, even though you know it's probably gonna happen. So if we did do it, thank you guys so much. That is so insane. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week.